We just came to the planning commission. The lady, when I called her, said that we could bring our house plans in on a napkin.
And then I would accept it.
She's like, yeah, we don't really, it's not too particular. We can just bring it in on a napkin and we'll see. Oh, so anyways, we've got our plans printed out with the deets.
Not on a napkin.
Not on a napkin. We forego the napkin. And I think we're going to hopefully be able to get our permit today, and then next steps would be getting our quotes and
getting the drive.
Getting the drive in,
is the next
getting some gravel in.
Physical thing, really.
So that's where we're at.
So they just dumped the second thing of gravel, like 10 tons all at one time, and we thought they were gonna do like the whole entire drive, but he only drove up half of it, and he didn't do it evenly at all. So now we have more work.
We could probably use another 10 ton.
Yeah. We are trying to measure out and stake out the perimeter of the house. Super high tech. Stake and string. And little pink flags. So the previous episode, we had mentioned briefly our plan for the 9 acres and going forward into the build, but we kind of want to explain a little bit more going into why we are building small instead of just your typical 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
We purchased the 9 acres with a few different ideas in mind. Really, this house that we're building now will serve eventually as a studio. If all goes according to plan, we'll build a second house that's a little bit larger, like a family home, on another part of the land. We want it to eventually be an office/studio that can also be used to house people that want to stay here.
We wanted to go into our first home with a lot of intention.
A big part of this project has been restoring the land, and we want people to be able to come here and be restored when they stay.
We're not only looking forward to really enjoying this house ourselves and the land, but really letting others enjoy it as well and letting it be a blessing to them. So some people have been wondering, how small is our small home?
We are not building a tiny home, which would be 400 square feet or less. We are building a small home, which will be 16 feet wide by 48 feet long.
So the footprint is actually only 800 square feet.
There'll be a loft on the second floor that's going to be open, and that will serve as our office, and that will probably be about 400 square feet. So in total, it will be a 1,200 square foot, 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house with an office.
So not a big home, not a tiny home, just a small home.
One thing for sure is that we are not architects, but we did build a pretty cool paper model.
We really appreciate good design, and one thing going into the build, we wanted to use design elements to make a small space feel big.
We're going to have it dark, black on the outside, and then when you come in, have it fill with light, pretty much all white walls.
All white walls, white ceiling, and then we're going to bring in some warmth and wood tones here and there to make it feel a little bit more homey, less like a cave. So the style that we are going for in the design is more of a modern kind of Scandinavian longhouse. So we have a lot of clean, repetitive lines, nothing very ornate on the exterior, and we just loved mixing texture, the contrast, and just using a bunch of different natural materials. One of the key elements in making a small space feel large is lights. So we designed every part of the house to have very specific daylight at different times of the day. So the plan is to implement some tall windows and some horizontal long windows and play with that on the walls to create light that just fills the entire space.
As well as framing out certain views. So those long horizontal, almost panoramic windows will allow us to get a neat view, but also let in a lot of light. The second thing we did to make the house feel more open and larger inside was having a vaulted ceiling. This is the 3D model of the house that we made on Chief Architect. And as you can see, it's not a perfect rendition of it, basic overview, and it was good enough to generate the floor plans. Just in this overview, you can see that there is a pretty basic setup. We are going to have a bedroom in the back, and then the bathroom, closet here, a door on each side, one leading to the utility room and one leading to the kitchen and family room.
We also designed it so that the plumbing would be all on that one central wall in the middle that bridges the kitchen on one side, the bathroom on the other, and also shares with the utility just for convenient costs, and it just seemed a smarter way to run everything.
One of the areas that we hadn't originally planned was to have a bump out for stairs, but this really ended up being the best way to have the stairs not intrude into the family room. The family room is going to be about 20 feet, and then once you go up to the stairs, there'll be the loft on the second floor. So the loft, you can see, just has one step, and that's because in the bedroom it goes to 9-foot ceilings instead of 8-foot ceilings like is under the kitchen. So I'll zoom in and show you that. We have obviously not everything finished. Some parts are kind of rough because it's hard to work out the way these walls would resolve. But as far as the shelving, we'll have a couple of shelves there, probably a range hood. But this is really just for measurements, not for styling and design. Up in the office area, which will be the second floor, you can see that there will be a window, and a little bit of room here for storage, as well as possibly like a guest bedroom. So we had to make this window large enough for egress, which is one thing that initially changed in our design, but having a larger window will probably be good up there. Really, after that, the roof is going to have to be figured out by the truss designers, as we'll have a vaulted ceiling inside that will be a little bit less than the pitch of the outside roof. So that's because we're using scissor trusses. The strength comes from the way that they're designed, so we don't have a rendering of those here just yet.
And then the materials for the exterior are going to be cement board panels for the sides, and then on the stair bump outs, and then the interior of the overhang is going to be some sort of wood. We're thinking cypress. And then the front and back bookends are going to be sao sugiban, which is a burnt cedar method. And then that's pretty much it for the outside. Inside, we haven't really sourced too many materials for it yet.
That's pretty much it. I think the family room, if you look at it from this way, you can see we haven't figured everything out here, but we'll have a fireplace eventually and some sort of shelving unit, and we left some large spots for art and for different lights that we're going to have in there as well, like pendant lights or sconces and things. So all those things aren't in here, but the building structure, generally speaking, is all set. A few people have asked us how much of the house we are going to be building ourselves. Our plan right now is that we're going to serve as the general contractors for the house, and then we're probably going to end up doing about 80% of the work.
We are not contractors, but we do like to build things.
So right now we are going to sub out a lot of the beginning stages of things to make sure it starts out on the right foot. So that means the foundation, the framing, that will get us pretty much dried in, and then we'll have somebody do the drywall and the electric.
We have to do a lot of research, a lot of finishes, Any systems?
Pretty much the plumbing, the flooring, the roofing, the siding, the insulation, the painting, all of the finishing woodworking will all be up to us. So there are a lot of big steps that will be subbed out, but a lot of those details and a lot of the finishing work we'll have to take care of.
So after quotes, we need to find basically a really good building supplier that's kind of like your bread and butter.
Make sure you get all the right materials from at a good cost.
No.
There you go.
We're hoping to start building probably in the next 2 weeks. So beginning of March is the plan. And when we've talked to people, it's just clear that it's better to wait and have all of your ducks in a row than it is to just jump in and think that everything will get together once you start building. You got to have everything, a plan in place, the blueprints already, the prices quoted out, and then you can
Start scheduling everybody.
roll along.